You check your phone over breakfast and bam, the world is ending. You turn on the evening news and society is practically collapsing. You go to sleep genuinely convinced that danger is lurking around literally every single corner and that the world has just never been a more terrifying place to live. Sound familiar? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're decoding a massive psychological illusion. We're going to explore how the constant, nonstop stream of breaking news and algorithmic outrage actively exploits a biological glitch in your brain's hardware. It's a glitch specifically designed to keep you terrified, glued to your screen, and it fundamentally alters how you perceive the real world around you.
So let me ask you right off the bat, is your fear actually based on reality? Or is it a complete illusion, just cooked up by media algorithms? I mean, we've all been there, right? Lying in bed at 11 p.m., totally exhausted, but frantically doom scrolling through an endless feed of catastrophic headlines until our heart is just pounding. We like to think of ourselves as rational beings capable of assessing danger. But what if your brain is functionally failing at evaluating true risk, all because of what you're staring at on that glowing screen? In this explainer, we're going to dive deep into why your brain completely fails at basic statistics, how this doom scrolling is actively destroying your logic, and most importantly, we'll give you the exact cognitive framework you need to escape the panic and finally see the world clearly.
All right, let's jump right into it. Part 1, the problem. Specifically, the brain's lazy shortcut. To really understand the root of this problem, we have to look at how your brain actually processes information day to day. Look, your brain is a magnificent machine, but let's be honest, it's also kind of lazy. It's designed to conserve energy. It doesn't want to overwork itself if it doesn't absolutely have to, so it relies heavily on automated patterns and mental shortcuts. In psychology, these mental shortcuts are called heuristics. Think of them like background apps running your life without you even noticing. And the specific shortcut we're zeroing in on today is the availability heuristic. Basically, this is your tendency to judge the probability of an event based entirely on how easily you can recall examples of it from memory. If you can quickly bring to mind an instance of something, say a glaring all-caps news headline about a rare disease, your lazy brain just automatically assumes, oh, that must happen all the time. Conversely, if you can't easily remember examples of something, your brain assumes it must be incredibly rare. It's a textbook example of fast thinking, where we decide what's true based purely on whatever evidence just popped into our heads first. Now, it's absolutely crucial to understand that this fast thinking wasn't always a bad thing. Back in the ancestral world, it actually kept early humans safe. If you remembered a buddy getting attacked by a lion down by the river, well, you stayed the heck away from the river. Your fast-thinking brain prioritized that vivid, terrifying memory, and it literally helps you survive. But fast forward to the modern information age, and this exact same biological shortcut has become a massive liability. I mean, it completely fails us when trying to process today's endless barrage of digital info. The things we remember most easily now aren't physical threats lurking in our immediate environment. They're manufactured digital dramas beamed straight into our pockets from thousands of miles away.
Just think about your own travel habits for a second. Have you ever been genuinely nervous to board a commercial flight? White-knuckling the armrests during takeoff? Yet, I bet you didn't think twice about casually pulling out your phone and texting while driving your car to the airport. This perfectly illustrates this cognitive glitch in action. Your mental autopilot makes you terrified of commercial flying, which, by the way, is statistically the safest form of travel in human history, while you completely accept the very real, statistical danger sitting right there in your driveway. Why does this happen? Simple. Plane crashes generate wall-to-wall, 24/7 global news coverage. They produce these terrifying, highly vivid images that just burn into our memory. Car accidents, on the other hand, they're mundane. They're everyday occurrences that rarely make the front page. Your brain just naturally prioritizes the dramatic, highly publicized image over the boring statistical reality.
Which brings us to part 2, the agitation. Or, as I like to call it, weaponizing your attention. See, this isn't just some innocent mistake your brain makes in a vacuum. The media, politicians, and especially social media algorithms, they know exactly how the availability heuristic works. They know exactly how you're wired, and they intentionally weaponize this mental shortcut against you. Why? Because your attention is their primary currency, and fear is the absolute most efficient way to capture it. Just consider the contrast here. On one side, we have dramatic anomalies, plane crashes, shark attacks, freak incidents, highly memorable, incredibly vivid, and reported on an endless loop. Thanks to the availability heuristic, we systematically overestimate the danger of these extremely rare events. But then look at the other side, the mundane dangers, things like heart disease or car accidents. We completely ignore these. We underestimate their true risk because they're common, they're boring, and they just don't create those vivid, terrifying impressions that keep you glued to the evening news. And honestly, the algorithms that govern our digital lives make this so much worse.
Let's break down exactly how they exploit this mental glitch. First off, when you scroll and see a sensational headline, it primes you to make a snap judgment based entirely on raw emotion instead of facts. Second, it trains your brain to treat a single shocking anecdote as if it represents some broad, sweeping national trend. Third, it completely reinforces your pre-existing biases by trapping you in a digital echo chamber. And by that I mean the algorithm just shows you the exact same terrifying anomaly from 10 different angles over and over until it feels like a literal epidemic. It makes it almost impossible to maintain the open-minded perspective you desperately need for sound reasoning. And finally, it rewards all this controversial, anger-inducing content with a rush of instant gratification.
So here is the harsh, uncomfortable reality. You are not immune to propaganda. None of us are. When we try to justify our doom scrolling by claiming, "Oh, I'm just trying to stay informed on current events," we are often actively destroying our own ability to think critically. We are systematically training our brains to ignore objective reality in favor of whatever rare, terrifying anomaly gets the absolute most clicks on our timeline. We have to stop confusing an entertaining, algorithmically generated horror story with the actual, objective truth of the world around us.
Okay, take a breath. Now for the good news. Part 3, the solution. Let's talk about the base rate override.
So, how do we actually fix this? How do we stop falling for this massive illusion? Well, we have to consciously and deliberately override our fast emotional thinking and literally force our brains into slow, analytical reasoning. We have to execute a base rate override. And here's exactly how you do it methodically in 3 clear steps. Step 1, unplug the noise. If you want to think clearly, you absolutely must limit your endless consumption of short-form algorithmic content. That constant barrage of sensationalized anecdotes is exactly what's poisoning your mental database. Step 2, recognize the emotional hijacking. When you see a terrifying headline and feel that sudden, sharp spike of anxiety, recognize what's happening. Your nervous system is flooding with stress hormones, forcing your brain into reactive mode. Stop right there. Don't form an opinion yet. Acknowledge that just because you can easily remember a scary story doesn't mean it's actually probable. And finally, step 3, anchor to the base rate. Before making any judgments about how dangerous something is, force yourself to look up the actual statistical probabilities, the base rate. This one simple action completely neutralizes the availability heuristic by grounding your thoughts in actual empirical data.
I want you to commit this phrase to memory. Seriously, this is your ultimate psychological cheat code for staying grounded in reality during a heated debate. The next time someone brings up a highly emotional, terrifying anecdote they just saw online, take a breath and calmly ask, "That is a tragic story, but what is the actual statistical base rate of that happening?" Boom! It instantly shifts the conversation away from emotional reactivity and right back to mathematical reality. It's such a powerful way to remind both yourself and whoever you're talking to that a single compelling story does not equal a widespread statistical truth.
A genuine master of critical thinking doesn't let the evening news program their perception of risk. As long as you rely on the very first dramatic example that pops into your head, your logic is always going to remain held hostage by manipulative media and algorithms. So the question I want to leave you with today is this. Is your logic held hostage by the last headline you read, or will you check the math? By cutting out the doom scrolling, recognizing your own mental shortcuts, and consistently anchoring your worldview to objective statistics, you literally strip manipulative media of its greatest weapon. Stay sharp, question those initial reactions, and always check the math.